Ladies and gentlemen, we are live!
I'm Jerry.
I'm Kevin.
And I'm Tom.
It's time!
Live from the CSB studios in Westbury, New York,
It's the Tom and Jerry Sports Show.
featuring co-host Kevin Dolan and the host that's been here since day one, Jerry Napoleonello.
On Zeno Radio and
On All Noise Radio.
Tom and Jerry Sports Show live on Zeno Radio, Cyberstation USA, All Noise Radio, Stitcher, and the Live 365 apps. I'm Jerry Napoleonello. He's Kevin Donlin. Thanks for deciding to spend your afternoon with us. We have a jam-packed show for you today. Of course, it's Super Bowl week. Carolina Panthers and the Denver Broncos will face off in the 50th anniversary of the big game. NHL made big headlines over their All-Star game, and the NL and AL in baseball may have a thing in common within the next few years. The number to call, 605-562-7085. Press 5 to be heard live. But first, here's Kevin with the Tom and Jerry Sports Show 60-second summary.
That's right, the non-watchable Pro Bowl was on yesterday as Team Irvin beat Team Rice 49-27 with the Seattle Seahawks quarterback winning the MVP. He went 8 of 12 for 164 yards and 3 touchdowns. The NHL All-Star Game was played last night, and the new format being used for the first time. And with all the headlines John Scott and the NHL made during the last 2 weeks, he did not disappoint. John Scott scored 2 goals in 2 games and evidently won the All-Star MVP. Calvin Johnson tells the Detroit Lions that the 2015 season will be his last season. It's Super Bowl week. Denver Broncos and Carolina Panthers face off in Santa Clara, California, and what can be Peyton Manning's last rodeo. Denver made it by beating New England Patriots 20-18, the AFC Conference Championship, and the Carolina Panthers make the big game by beating the Arizona Cardinals pretty handily, 49-15. Giants defensive tackle Jay Bromley accused of attempted rape and hitting the woman with his car. Johnny Manziel back in the news with police investigating a reported domestic violence altercation. And I'm Kevin Donlin with your Tom and Jerry Sports Show 60-second summary brought to you by Overtime. The game never ends.
This guy just can't stay out of the news. I mean, Johnny Manziel, what else can you say to this guy? I mean, how can you not... Like, how are you doing this in the beginning of your career? You're throwing it away.
What career? I mean, he hasn't been able to do anything
that's what I'm
productive.
saying. It's
but honestly, at the same
it's
time,
sad.
I think the way that the Cleveland Browns head coach was able to handle the situation with Johnny Manziel was terrible. I mean, I think he was even extra strict on him, which is, listen, when you're going to treat someone like an animal, they're going to act like one.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what's happening with him. Yeah. They were so strict with him that this kid just, he might have lost it. Might have been aggravated. You're basically tempting a guy that can already easily be tempted. But this is showing the kind of character that Johnny Manziel has. His true colors are coming out. It'll be very difficult for him to find a steady job. His talents might be able to get him one more job in the NFL. But if any more altercations are happening ahead of this, it'll be the end of him. And it just sucks because he really does have a load of talent. He's pretty quick. He can throw on the run pretty well. I've seen him make some big plays for the Cleveland Browns. And it's just because of how strict their head coach was. But I wasn't a fan of Cleveland Browns head coach. He got fired.
Yeah.
And rightfully so.
Mike Pettin.
Yeah, I was not a fan of this guy at all. I think I think they had a much better defense. I think they had a great team. They have one of the best offensive lines in football. They have one of the better defenses in football. And you couldn't make any sort of a dent in that division.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens, with Johnny Manziel. From what we're hearing is he may not be a Brown after this year. Well, not after this year, but like going into this year.
I think the best thing for him is to stay at Brown with this new head coaching system.
Yeah, but I don't know if the new head coach wants him.
Well, I don't know if the Cleveland Browns organization wants him.
It's Hugh Jackson. Yeah, I don't know if he wants him, but we'll get into football later on. Of course, it's a Super Bowl week, so we'll definitely get into the Super Bowl. Remember to give us a call, 605-562-7085. We want to hear your take on the Super Bowl, anything else that we're talking about. We're talking about football, baseball, hockey, all today. But first, we'll get into some baseball news. The Mets and Yoenis Cespedes have been making news the last 2 weeks, I guess you could say. Obviously, a lot was being said that Cespedes wanted a 5-year deal. Wanted big money. The Mets did not want to give that to him. At first, I think the Mets offered him a 1-year deal. He obviously did not take that. Then the Nationals stepped in, and the Nationals offered him a 5-year I think, $110 million deal. The Orioles had a deal on the table, but then Buck Showalter did not want that to happen, so they took that off the table. So it was basically just the Nationals and the Mets. Other teams inquired about him, but it just never, came to a head, I guess. But Cespedes wanted to be in New York.
Am I the only one that sees Yoenis Cespedes struggling in the beginning of next year, and all the Met fans being aggravated about it?
I can see that.
I'm the only one that sees this.
I
mean,
see
this
that.
is a guy that, don't get me wrong, batted .300 with the New York Mets. Great player for the New York Mets.
What do you do in the
great
playoffs?
Great arm, great range in the outfield. It's not just his bat that makes him a valuable player, especially playing for the National League. But I could see this guy struggling. This is a career under .300 hitter.
Well, the Mets also didn't see him.
If he doesn't bring out those home runs, and the Met fans are going to have a very hard time with this signing.
The Mets don't see him as a full-time center fielder, and basically with the Mets, that's what he's going to be playing, because you have Michael Conforto, you have guys in the outfield that you got Granderson in lock spots, and Granderson obviously doesn't have the arm for center anymore. Never really did, but he's just getting up there in age. Cespedes told the Mets he does not want to play right field. Doesn't. He's got a right field arm. Does not want to play right field though. So that's the big question.
Well, he's got a lot of range. He's the better
play
option.
center field.
He's the better option at center field. He's got more range.
And the Mets just didn't want to give him a 5-year deal because of they don't know what's going to happen. They don't know what's going to happen. If they would have
given him 5 years and he'd be struggling even in the beginning of this season coming up, every Met fan would be absolutely going berserk over having this guy stuck here for 5 years. I think this is a perfect deal for the New York Mets and for Yoenis Cespedes.
Absolutely.
I think Cespedes had a great end of the year because of his contract year, and that was it.
Yeah.
That was it. Okay, he was nowhere to be found come postseason.
No, he wasn't.
I mean, the bat slows down for this guy. He is an up-and-down hitter. I've seen him play for the Oakland Athletics. I've seen the way he is. And that is a big ballpark in Oakland, just like you have a big ballpark in Queens.
Boston, the teams Boston, he didn't really have the type of season that the Red Sox were expecting.
Of course.
I don't think anybody was expecting that. Because
that's what I'm saying.
the
power's
really
got to be there in a
plate.
Met uniform, or the Met fans are going to go all over this guy.
Well, yeah. But moving on to the other New York team, Aroldis Chapman will not face charges. That is huge for the Yankees. I mean, both ways it would have worked out. If he would have got suspended,
I don't think it makes a difference. I think the MLB is still going to suspend him.
I don't know.
He is still going to get suspended by the Major League Baseball.
But if you think about it, though, it works out both ways. I think he's got a 1-year contract, so next year he's going to be a free agent. The thing is, he has to get to a certain amount of service days. That's what you have in baseball. You have to do the certain amount of service days to become a free agent. If you don't get to that service day, you have to wait another year to become a free agent. If he gets suspended for any type of, maybe half a season or so, he's not getting to that service years. So he becomes a Yankee for another year. So it works out for the Yankees either way. The Yankees this year, if he doesn't get suspended, wow, they got the best bullpen in the league, maybe ever.
But they still have CC Sabathia.
You know what? I think CeCe's going to come back a little bit stronger.
He's got to be their number 3 starter. And I mean, obviously, you're right. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, you got the New York Yankees going to have this guy as a 1-2 starter. He is not beating any 1s or 2s.
No.
He's not. I mean, he really isn't the same pitcher that he was.
No.
The velocity's gone down. His spot
He's not the power pitcher anymore.
His spot, like the way he used to be able to spot his fastball. Now, you see Bartolo Colon with his incredible control and all that kind of stuff. CC reminds me of that to the point where he doesn't have it anymore.
Yeah.
This is what Bartolo Colon, what he's doing now, is what CC Sabathia was about 4 or 5 years ago. And Sabathia is having a very hard time in a Yankee uniform. It's been like that since the very get-go, let's be honest. And, we're not trying to beat around right now, but, the point is with the New York Yankees, starting pitching is going to be a very difficult situation. Now, granted, these pitchers only need to throw about 5-6 innings, and the bullpen's got the rest
biggest thing.
That
these guys have to pitch that many innings. But, I mean, overall, overall, if you think about it, I think that they can do a pretty good job. If you get Nathan Eovaldi, if he stays healthy, if that arm is all right, and he plays the way he did towards the end of that season last year, the Yankees have a solid. He's probably going to be a number 3. Then you got Tanaka. Hopefully his arm is all right. If he could stay healthy the full year, he works out. He's going to be our ace.
Yep.
Then you got Severino, which
Tanaka,
nobody thinks about. Severino's coming into this rotation. He'll be starting the year with this rotation.
I personally think he should be. I personally think he should be ahead of CC Sabathia.
He will be ahead of CC Sabathia.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like this guy should be a 3, 4, 5 starter for us at this point. I mean, let's be honest. CC Sabathia with the money he's making right now.
I think he's going to be a number 4 or number 5.
Yeah,
no doubt.
Yeah, man, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, but if you really
it's
think
unbelievable.
About it, I think we can be all right.
I think the Yankees will be a good team this year. I think they'll be able to. I personally think they're going to make the postseason. I mean,
so do I. I think
that's a little bit of a bold statement. There's a lot of teams coming out of the
I think
AL
I'm going to
East
go
right now.
I'm going to go bolder with you on here. I think they're going to win the East.
Yeah.
I think they're going to win the East. But going from AL, NL, obviously the big difference between these two is the DH. And Rob Manfred, the commissioner, has publicly said that the DH may make its way into the NL within the next couple of years. In a way, to me, obviously being a Yankee fan, I've dealt with the DH. We watch the DH, everything like that. I like it. I think the DH should be in the NL. It's going to open up more jobs for these older players that can't play the field anymore. That's going to be big. It's going to make more money for the for Major League Baseball because you're not going to spend money to the biggest thing is not many people are going to want to watch a pitching duel. It's just not going to happen like that. Baseball fans don't care what kind of baseball game it is. It could be a pitching duel. It could be a blowout. They're going to love the game. But people that are half and half, that are those, bandwagon baseball fans, they're not going to watch a pitching duel. It's not going to happen. It's going to be boring to them. So having a guy into a lineup that takes a pitcher out, an automatic out basically, and puts in a guy that's going to hit 30 home runs for an NL team is big. But the biggest, I want to say the biggest reason for this is pitchers are making way too much money now, and teams do not want to risk that money with a guy hitting, running the bases. They're not going to want to spend $300 million on a guy that can run the bases, tear his Achilles, and then done. Or strain his back, need back surgery. All of that will happen with a non-athletic pitcher.
That just sounds like unbelievable. You know what? If you're not athletic, then you shouldn't be getting $300 million. I mean, this is just my point. What it comes down to is that these baseball players are making a lot of money.
They are.
It really is incredible. And for the New York Mets, I want to just mention this: the DH being added to the National League could be the worst news I can ever hear. This is a team that banks off their pitching. They have a lot of good pitching. Their hitting is mediocre, I would say, at best. But they're getting better. I mean, the signing of Cespedes is a huge,
absolutely
plus to that. But, for them, this is the worst news ever. I mean, they're not alone.
Yeah, but you know what? This is, to me, it's not the worst news. Why would you want to risk your...
Well, you're not a Met fan.
The basic, basically the best part of your team. Why are you going to risk that? Putting this guy up at bat? There's no
Matt
reason.
Harvey can hit. Noah Syndergaard can hit.
They can hit, no doubt.
More superior than any other pitcher you're going to see in any kind of team.
Absolutely, but now add a DH in there.
Who are they putting there?
If they really wanted to, and they wanted to play Juan Lagares in center field, who's a Gold Glove center fielder, and then have Yoenis Cespedes as the DH. I mean, that already right there makes your lineup 10 times better. Because you're adding a guy that's going to at least hit, Juan Lagares will probably hit at least 5 home runs or so, get on base, have a good batting average to a pitcher. Why would you want? Because you're going to spend a lot of money on these pitchers coming up for the Mets, and obviously they're not going to be able to keep them. Matt Harvey, this is probably his last year with the Mets, and I'm being serious with that. That's going to be his last year with the Mets. This is it. We got a great story ahead. Next on the Tom and Jerry Sports Show.
Do you have sports opinions? Or do you want to start your own sports debate? Then Overtime is right for you. Overtime is an app for sports lovers made by sports lovers. This is the best place to talk about sports. Overtime is available at the iTunes App Store. Be a part of something big and help us take the game to OT. Overtime. The game never ends. Follow the NFL this season on the Tom and Jerry Sports Show.
Station USA is the future of radio. Get your business into the online future at the world's largest internet radio station. From banner placement on our homepage to any of our broadcaster stages, commercials on our video player, audio spots on any of our shows, or at the beginning of any of our on-demand broadcasts. Cyberstation USA offers competitive rates with a worldwide reach, a fully integrated one-stop-shop social media broadcast platform. For more information, please contact our sales department at cameo@cyberstationusa.com.
All Noise Radio. Powered by the Connecticut School of Broadcasting. All Noise Radio is an internet radio station that's fully produced by graduates of the Connecticut School of Broadcasting. From modern rock to old school hip hop, country to classical, news, talk, sports, and more. It's the noise you can't ignore. Log on to allnoiseradio.com. Fire up the station. Find out more about your favorite jocks. Get the latest CSB news and more. Plus, you can take All Noise Radio with you on the go for free. Just download the Live 365 app to your iPhone, iPod Touch, or BlackBerry and search All Noise Radio. Check out tomorrow's broadcasters today at allnoiseradio.com. Powered by the Connecticut School of Broadcasting.
Tom and Jerry Sports Show featuring Kevin Donlin live every Monday on Zeno Radio and re-airs every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern on Cyberstation USA and the Stitcher app. You can also tune in every Wednesday and Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern on All Noise Radio and the Live 365 app.
Follow us on Instagram at Tom and Jerry Sports Show and join the conversation on Twitter at TNJ Sports, or visit our website at tnjsports.weebly.com, or call in to 605-562-7085. Press 5 to be heard live.
One mind, one team, one heart, one player through the hole, one goal from the start to dominate the art of the black and blue and watch your Super Bowl dreams till they all come true.
We are back, and we got a good story coming out of Georgia. But first, in this day and age, social media has become such a pivotal part of people's lives. Well, now there's an app called Overtime that brings sports and social media together.
It allows you to post photos as well as video of all sports-related news and highlights. It gives you access to debate all sports topics with other sports fanatics, as well as giving you a platform to break sports news yourself.
Go to the iTunes App Store to download an Overtime, an app for sports lovers made by sports lovers.
Well, the story that we were talking about, that we were hinting towards, is I don't know if anybody's really seen it. It was a great story because of everything that you've been seeing with the cops and being in the news and all that stuff. This happened. The Georgia police ended up getting I forget what town it was, but ended up getting a call for kids playing basketball in the street too loud. So the cop came up.
You already have a hard time having kids go outside and play to begin with.
Exactly.
You're going to complain when you finally hear too much noise? I mean, come on, people.
Exactly.
Now, half these kids are out there playing video games 24/7. If kids want to go out and play basketball, you really can't be this difficult. I don't care how loud they are. Make adjustments in your own house.
Yeah. So the cop pulled up, told these kids what they got, was the call and everything like that. And he basically said, I don't really care what this person called about. And then he ended up playing with them. Ended up playing basketball with these kids, which was cool for a cop to do that, because you could get cops that, aren't that nice. But this guy played basketball with them for, a few, and then actually told them, was like, listen, you guys going to be out here again tomorrow? They said yes. He ended up saying, oh, you know what? I'm going to bring some friends over. We'll pull a game together. We'll take a pickup game or whatever. The cop did not know that they set up because this video went viral. The police officer did not know that this was happening, and they were setting up for a meeting, and they had Shaq come in. And Shaq went with all these cops. The whole police station basically came to this block, and they all started playing basketball. Shaq and all these police officers playing basketball in the street with these kids. Shaq ended up having these kids line up, take shots every time they made a shot. For each one, if they made the shot, they got $100. He ended up giving out $800 to these kids. And it was a nice story. It was a nice story for the police officer, the Georgia police. It was a nice story for Shaq to do something like that, take time out of his day to go have fun with these kids. It was just a nice story overall. That's the kind of stories that you want to hear with these police officers. That's the kind of story that you want to hear with these kids going out and playing basketball. And for someone to call in to the police that these kids were playing basketball too loud in the street is absolutely ridiculous. And you know what? The police officer made it known that it was ridiculous by doing what he did. And it came out to be a great story. I loved watching the video. The video is on YouTube if you want to go watch it. It's a great story. But, moving on to other basketball news, moving on to the pros.
Well, you talk about Shaquille O'Neal. We'll go right to the Hack and Shaq debate right now. And, what we're talking about here, and I'm pretty sure 90% of you understand what we mean. It's called Hack of Jordan, Hack of Shaq.
Exactly.
And we're not talking about Michael Jordan.
No.
We're talking about DeAndre Jordan and his 48.7 free throw
But
percentage.
it's not even DeAndre Jordan. I think it was Andre Drummond as well. These guys just are not good free throw shooters, and I think it was Andre Jordan that ended up getting fouled. He went to the foul line 36 times.
Well, Drummond missed the most consecutive ever.
Yeah, I mean it's sad to watch a basketball game and watch a guy at the line 36 times that he can't even hit 10 of them. It's sad. I think he missed 24.
What's sad is that an actual organization went out and paid these guys a lot of money. DeAndre Jordan just got paid millions. Andre Drummond makes millions. Shaquille O'Neal made millions for years.
Yeah.
And these guys can't hit a simple free throw.
It's bad, but it's making the game bad because it's like you got to watch these guys at the free throw line.
It's a strategy. Guys like Doc Rivers.
It is a strategy, but it's a stupid strategy, and I think you
need to take them off the court.
There's got to be a way of getting rid of this, and I know I think they came out with the rule that you can't do this under 2 minutes in the second quarter and the fourth quarter, basically, like that. But it's stupid. I can't watch a basketball game and watch a guy at the free throw line. I mean, the game is already the last 2 minutes of a basketball game turns into an hour already. I don't like watching basketball because of that.
No, it's understandable, but there's one solution to that. You either take them off the court or you learn how to, hit some free throws. I mean, this is getting absolutely sad. I mean, when you're getting paid this kind of money to play the game of basketball, you're 7 feet tall. You have a gift being this tall. And to be able to be strong and powerful in the paint, it's such a gift to have. And you have it already. That's why you've made millions of dollars. The next step is make free throws and make yourself an incredible player. A player that, it's difficult to go out there and play against. And you'll be out there, and there's no fear of it. Now, the whole idea of getting rid of it in the last 2 minutes is, I don't like it. I think you keep it out there. Get him off the court in the final 2 minutes if you don't want him out there. Yeah, and risk not getting rebounds. That is your fault for signing someone like that. If the Lakers had somebody like that, you would understand. The Celtics do not have anybody like that.
They had Shaq.
Kelly Olynyk's a very good free throw shooter. Brook Lopez is a very good free throw. It is possible for a 7-foot man to go out there and be an effective free throw shooter. But these guys aren't, and they make a lot of money.
Oh, absolutely.
And it really is a big problem, to be honest. A big problem. But it's a problem that guys like Doc Rivers need to take care of themselves by taking this guy out of the court.
Absolutely.
You have him out there in the final 2 minutes. You run that risk.
Yeah.
And the NBA shouldn't have a responsibility to go out there and take care of this for you. You take care of it yourself. You get this guy off. You shouldn't have re-signed him.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't want him to walk. You had no other big men. That's your own problem. That's you put yourself in that predicament.
Oh, I
you
know.
run the practices, Doc Rivers. You need to have this guy at the free throw line 90% of the time.
Yeah.
And if he still can't learn it, after shooting all these free throws, they're on their own.
The Overtime Debate of the Week.
All right. Well, we have two this week, being that we didn't do one last week, obviously because we didn't have a show. So we got two overtime debates of the week. We got the first one: how should, if at all, Blake Griffin be punished for punching his equipment manager by Maximilian 10 on the Overtime app, and then also another one by Todd Zuckerman from the Overtime app. Will Kevin Durant end up a Knick this summer? Reports are he has a good connection with Melo, and he's been building up Porzingis. We'll start off with the Blake Griffin thing. Obviously, if you didn't hear about it, obviously you've been under a rock, but Blake Griffin broke his hand punching the equipment manager, who ended up actually being a very close friend to Blake Griffin. So it's actually a funny story. Not so funny for the Clippers, because now you're out Blake Griffin for the next month or two. But altogether, I mean, I think he should be suspended in some kind of form, maybe 1 or 2 games, because it's an altercation. And I mean, I think there's punishment enough that he broke his hand for being an idiot. But I think he should get at least a 1 or 2 games.
Well, I know the story. And what happened was, Blake Griffin was coming back from a quad injury, and they were going on a road trip. Now, what happened was, the equipment manager, whatever his name was, I still don't even want to mention his name, because, to be honest with you, you're a nobody. And apparently you're the reason why this all started. Blake Griffin was supposed to return for a particular game from his quad injury, was told that he wasn't going to play on a particular game during the road trip, and the equipment manager basically was watching Blake Griffin, and Blake Griffin was very agitated at the time, pouting, very upset, visibly upset about not being able to play. And that's the kind of player you want in your organization. Not DeAndre Jordan that can't hit free throws. Someone that can hit free throws, someone that can rebound and wants to play like this. And apparently the equipment manager went out there and was criticizing, going, oh, boo-hoo, look at him pouting in the corner. He's saying things like this towards Blake Griffin. Clearly it either went back to him through a player or a teammate, or he heard it just specifically and reacted and punched him in return and now broke his hand.
All right, well, now my thing is, they're guys, obviously. Supposedly they're best friends or so, or close enough.
I have a very
friends.
hard time Blake Griffin growing up a professional basketball player. His best friend is somebody that is in the Clippers organization. That he's been on for about 4 or 5 years.
The kind of
maybe a good friend, not a best friend. No.
The kind of friendship that they had was when DeAndre Jordan was having the problems between choosing the Mavericks and the Clippers. Blake Griffin and this guy were the two that went to meet up with DeAndre Jordan to try to get him back to the Clippers. That's how close of friends they are. So my thing is, when you have friends, especially as guys, you make fun of each other. That's what you do. That's basically, you know.
I'll tell you right now.
There's a very rare time that you're saying good things about your friends.
I want to stop you right there.
Am I wrong though?
You're not wrong, but at the same time, if you're clearly agitated about something,
no, I know,
am I going to go out there and continue to pour it on? No. And that's clearly what this equipment manager did.
There's times that obviously people go further than they should. They go over that line,
and that's what caused this. And Blake Griffin
but you know
deserves
what?
to not get suspended at all.
Blake Griffin should not have gone, like, he should know, all right, well, I'm an NBA player. I'm a professional player. I am making millions of dollars. I am a star of the Los Angeles Clippers. Maybe I shouldn't hit a guy in a restaurant and then take it outside and then keep hitting the person.
Well, also,
It's
you can also say that I'm a
stupid.
professional basketball player, and I really want to get out there and play for my team that pays me millions of
Absolutely.
dollars.
But
I have a responsibility to go out there and play, and I want to get out there and play, and I'm not going to play, so I'm in a very bad mood. And I got told I'm not going to play, and then all of a sudden, someone's going to come out there and agitate me further, and I'm not going to be able to control myself. I can understand where he's coming out with this. I understand there's an altercation there. He does not deserve to get suspended. He's already missing enough time for the Clippers, and I think the Clippers understand that they're already getting enough out of this. Does the NBA need to get involved? This is stuff where the NBA just needs to back away.
But this should be a Clippers thing.
Roger Goodell would get involved in something like this, but the NBA commissioner is not the same.
See, but my thing is, you know what? Yeah, you were upset and everything, and yeah, you wanted to play.
You're right. The Clippers might go out there and suspend this guy after he's already missing about 2 to 3 solid months for the team already, and they desperately need to get wins right now because this West is getting very close.
Yeah, but they're winning more games without Blake Griffin than they were with Blake Griffin, is one. But the other thing is, you were saying that, oh, you know what? He wants to go out there and play for his team. Why is he going to risk something like that by getting into a fight with someone that doesn't even mean anything? Why? That is where the immaturity comes involved. That's where the stupidity comes.
You got to be in his shoes, brother. You really have to be in his shoes to understand this. You're not understanding the anger that's going through him.
And
you're clearly not understanding that.
No, I do understand it.
No, you're not, because you're saying that you could have self-control there, and when someone's agitating you beyond how angry you are. Listen, you're in a quad injury. You've been out for a couple of weeks. Your team's winning without you, like you said. No. You want to get back out there. You want to play. You get told you're not going to play by someone else, even though you feel fine to go. You get agitated. And then you got someone else pouring on to your agitation.
I understand the agitation.
There's no control at that point. And obviously this equipment manager made it so he had no self-control.
The way that you're putting it is that he wanted to play so bad that he was in a bad mood that they.
Well, that's why the equipment manager was getting at him, because he said he was pouting.
Now you're not going to be playing for the next 2 months.
Yeah, if this guy would have just shut. If this equipment manager would have just shut his mouth.
I understand that, but now it's just stupidity on his part. Have you ever heard the line, "Sticks and stones may break your bones, but words never hurt"?
Yeah, absolutely.
So why now you
unless
went
those
from
words are getting told from a coach when you feel perfectly.
But you know what?
When you get told
matter.
from somebody that isn't you, that you're not good, well enough to play in this game. So the words start to hurt, even though you're not going to be able to play in this game.
But
now
you're going to tell me if DeAndre Jordan went out there and started messing with Blake Griffin, started saying all this stuff, that Blake Griffin should go up and hit him?
What do you mean?
But I'm just saying, you know,
I don't understand what you're saying there, though.
Say DeAndre Jordan was the one that was pouring it on. Are you going to tell me that Blake Griffin?
Oh, let me tell you something. I bet you all of his teammates understood what kind of mood he was in, to the point where they wouldn't even say a word to him. No, I'm serious when I say this. Like, they know to stay away from this guy. This guy clearly didn't know this. Okay, continued to pour it on, saying, "Oh, look at him pouting, look at him pouting." And I bet you it probably wasn't to his face that he was saying this stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, and he heard it through someone else, and he probably had no self-control. Like, "Oh, do me a favor and shut your mouth."
Yeah.
Shut your mouth.
Well,
because that's clearly what happened. He said something at the wrong time.
We're going to get into the second overtime debate of the week when we come back. Cam Newton made headlines with some comments he made. We'll discuss that next on the Tom and Jerry Sports Show. The Tom and Jerry Sports Show, featuring Kevin Donlin, live every Monday on Zeno Radio and re-airs every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern on Cyberstation USA and the Stitcher app. You can also tune in every Wednesday and Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern on All Noise Radio and the Live 365 app.
Follow us on Instagram at Tom and Jerry Sports Show, and join the conversation on Twitter at TNJ Sports, or visit our website at tnjsports.weebly.com, or call into 605-562-7085. Press 5 to be heard live. Follow the NFL this season on the Tom and Jerry Sports Show.
Cameo Entertainment Group and Cyberstation USA are now part of Stitcher, a free radio app for your smartphone. With Stitcher, you can listen to live programming as well as archive radio programming right on your phone. To obtain Stitcher, just go to the App Store for your particular phone. Go to search, then type in Stitcher. That's Stitcher, S-T-I-T-C-H-E-R. S-T-I-T-C-H-E-R. Then download. It's that simple. Stitcher, a free radio app for your smartphone. Convenient access to live and archived Cyberstation USA programming on your mobile phone. That's Stitcher, S-T-I-T-C-H-E-R. Cyberstation USA, always on the go.
All Noise Radio, Powered by the Connecticut School of Broadcasting. All Noise Radio is an internet radio station that's fully produced by graduates of the Connecticut School of Broadcasting. From modern rock to old school hip hop, country to classical, news, talk, sports, and more. It's the noise you can't ignore. Log on to allnoiseradio.com. Fire up the station. Find out more about your favorite jocks. Get the latest CSB news and more. Plus, you can take All Noise Radio with you on the go for free. Just download the Live 365 app to your iPhone, iPod Touch, or BlackBerry and search All Noise Radio. Check out tomorrow's broadcasters today at allnoiseradio.com. Powered by the Connecticut School of Broadcasting.
Until the end of days, they'll remember our names. Face yourself in all those down tonight. Time will tell you.
We are back, and we want to start getting into football a little bit here. And
First, we have the second overtime debate of the week.
Oh yeah, let's finish this. Here we go. Kevin Durant with the New York Knicks.
I don't. We're gonna make this short and sweet. I don't think this is gonna happen.
You're gonna be like the other.
You know what? I know he called Porzingis a unicorn. But he's been saying something nice about every team that he's been going to see, in their season this year. Also because, he is a free agent next year or after this year. So, he's not going to say anything bad about anybody. So, that's just basically what he's doing with that, saying that. He also has a good relationship with Melo. But you know what? In the NBA nowadays, who doesn't have a good relationship with anybody in this
Absolutely.
league?
There's a lot of sportsmanship goes into the NBA this year, without a doubt.
I hate it.
Oh, but it makes the game better, and it shows it's good for.
You're gonna tell me that you think that it makes the game better, that guys actually like each other?
Let me tell you, when I played basketball growing up my entire life, I didn't hate my opponent ever. My opponent would hit me or foul me for reasons, and I understood. It was the refs that I hated more than anything. I'll be honest. Even
no, I mean that's
I bet you that's a mutual between the NBA players towards the refs. But for Kevin Durant in this situation, my opinion personally. This looks like a LeBron James situation all over again. LeBron James had nothing but nice things to say about a lot of organizations, and evidently chose an organization that you really didn't expect in the end. So I really expect something similar from Kevin Durant. And when it comes to the New York Knicks, and you obviously, with this debate of the week, you obviously want this guy to go to the New York Knicks.
I don't think it would work out, to be honest with you.
I really don't think it would work out having Kevin Durant out there with Carmelo Anthony. I think the best matchup that they can get right now is someone like Russell Westbrook, who's also going to be a free agent come 2017.
Yeah. But we're going to move on to the comments made by Cam Newton.
Nothing's changed, but the only thing that's changed is that we're winning. And I've said it since day one. I'm an African-American quarterback that may scare a lot of people because they haven't seen nothing that they can compare me to. Here I am. I'm doing exactly what I want to do, how I want to do it. And when I look in the mirror, it's me. You know what I'm saying? Nobody changed me. Nobody, made me act this certain type of way. And I'm true to my roots. And it feels great. But yet, people are going to say whatever they want to say. And if I'm in this world living for that person, this person's going to say this person's going to say that, then I can't look at myself and say I'm Cam Newton or I'm Cameron Newton to most people. Because I'm not. Because I'm living for you.
And it's the truth. I mean... The only thing that I didn't like about these comments was him putting the African American in that sentence.
Well, the point is if Peyton Manning came out and said something like, "I'm a white quarterback," what kind of feedback Twitter would blow up.
Yeah,
it would blow up. Okay, and for Cam Newton to come out there and be free to say this, that means there's basically an uneasy. There obviously is. Mentioning that you're an African-American quarterback is not racist, but mentioning that you're a white quarterback would be racist.
Yeah.
That's a situation.
That's the thing. And you know what? Now that people came out and said it was a racist thing, Cam Newton tried to kind of backpedal a little bit.
The whole thing would have been fine if he just left that out. I mean,
exactly, and that's what I'm saying.
Can he be compared to anybody? No. He really can. He is a unique player. A lot of people compared him to Ben Roethlisberger just because of his size. But he is playing a different style of football. He has got an incredible arm. He's got incredible speed. And he is very hard to take down as well. He is a big player.
Actually, breaking news right now. Yankees' Greg Bird will have surgery on Tuesday, will miss the whole 2016 season. That's huge. Huge. But going back to the Cam Newton, like I said, if he would have left the African-American part out of his comment, it would have been fine because it's true, though. You can't compare him. And he backpedaled with Trey Wingo on ESPN by saying, you know what, he's like, I didn't mean it as a race thing, but it's just something that, you know, everybody coming out of the draft, oh, this one is you know,
that's
like
what they
Ben
always do. But you've
Roethlisberger.
been in
This
the league-
one's like Tom
but
Brady.
you've been in the league for
and
a
he doesn't
couple
want to
years
be
now.
that. He wants to be his own player, and that's basically what he's doing. And you know what? There isn't anybody that you can compare him to. There's nobody. This guy can play every position on the field, no doubt. This guy is 6'5", 260 pounds. And he runs a 4.3, 4.4.
He's unique.
It's unheard of. It's like a LeBron James.
I like Cam Newton, and honestly,
So
what
do I.
happens is
So do I.
with this man. You know, this is just a regular person I'm talking to, and you know, they're not looking at every game, or you know, but they're reading the articles in the newspapers. And what happens is these newspapers and the media are really portraying Cam Newton as to be some sort of a, you know, cocky kind of a player, and you know, for him, he's having fun.
He is, and that's what you want to see.
This is what I see when I watch Cam Newton. I'm looking at a guy who's having fun, that is giving back to his community, that gives a kid a ball every single time they score a touchdown. I think that is an incredible story. I actually just recently read about one where a young man had lost his father.
Yeah, that was last week.
Yeah, and he went to the game with his grandmother or grandfather, and Cam Newton in particular was able to get him a football. And, you know, what he's able to do for these children is what we ask role models to do all the time
Now,
in the NFL.
did you hear the story about the letter that was sent from the Seahawks fan?
Well, yeah, you know, because he had thrown the flag out.
And I thought that was ridiculous. And you know what? If you watch him play, yeah, you know, he does dance.
They
he
lost to Cam Newton, okay?
I mean...
Yeah, they lost to Cam Newton. You're going to see a fan just lashing out. That's all that is. He's allowed to grab that flag and throw, because the guy is throwing
handed it to him.
Exactly, and he's allowed to do whatever he wants with it.
It's
and he's
just
not,
stupid that
what do
you
you
can
want him
bring
to do? Do you
someone-
want him to hold it up and,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
represent? You cannot let that happen.
You
And-
have to expect that. As a Seahawks fan, you want to bring the 12th flag to another team's stadium and then hang it over the side where a player is walking, having a good time with the fans, embracing the fans. He's going to embrace the fans even more by taking that
But
and
this
throwing
fan
that.
went to some crazy level, talking about how there are a lot of people that work hard in
Yeah,
Seattle.
they
and
went to go see cancer patients and
Yeah,
all that. Like it was
you
just
think,
like.
do you think that's going through Cam
they-
Newton's mind when he's going and ripping the flag?
This
I'll tell you,
person
if
was
Ryan,
reaching.
if Ryan Fitzpatrick takes a New York Giant flag and grabs it and throws it on the floor, stomps on it, I'm loving it. But if
That's
a
what I'm
Giant
saying.
fan, all of a sudden comes out and
You're gonna
starts
get
saying,
upset.
"Well, all these New York Giant fans that hold this flag up for the Giants, they all visit these cancer patients and they give back to the community more than Ryan Fitzpatrick." Do you think that's going through his head when he's doing that? No, he's
No.
supporting his own team.
Exactly.
Okay.
And you know what?
And that's what New York Jet fans want to see. That's what Carolina Panther fans want to see. The Seattle Seahawks owned the Panthers for a couple of seasons going into
did.
this year.
Absolutely.
They owned them, knocking them out of the playoffs multiple times.
Absolutely.
So for them to finally overwhelm that 12th man, yeah, they want to see their quarterback grab a 12th man flag and throw it on the floor and stomp on it.
Absolutely.
The last thing going through Cam Newton's mind is, you know, what these people
What
of
that
Seattle
stands for.
Yeah, what it
You
stands
know?
for. What it stands for is the amount of noise that goes on in that stadium, and that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, we understand you're loyal fans in Seattle, but it does not go into the fact of what you guys do for your community. We understand everyone does this stuff for their community. You think it just happens in Seattle? You're out of your mind. They went to an extensive amount to try to make Cam Newton look out to be some sort of a dirtbag, and he's really not.
He's not, and we're not going to get into these comments as much because, you know, first of all, everybody's been talking about it all week, and second of all, Cam Newton. I mean, if he just took the African American part out of his comments, I think the comments are great to hear. That's what you want to hear out of a quarterback. Just the African American kind of threw everybody off. Kind of sounded like he made it a race thing, but it's Super Bowl 50. We will preview the Super Bowl when we get back on the Tom and Jerry Sports Show.
Do you have sports opinions? Or do you want to start your own sports debate? Then Overtime is right for you. Overtime is an app for sports lovers made by sports lovers. This is the best place to talk about sports. Overtime is available at the iTunes App Store. Be a part of something big and help us take the game to OT. Overtime. The game never ends. Follow the NFL this season on the Tom and Jerry Sports Show.
This is the evolution of radio.
Cyberstation USA.
Our inventions change us. They make us think differently.
Something new added to the real world.
The leading edge of evolution.
That development has got to be delivered.
CyberstationUSA.com.
The most sophisticated that I've ever seen.
I'm not sure exactly what the future is, but I'm pretty sure it's not going away.
Connecticut School of Broadcasting founder Dick Robinson.
You know, the media business has changed a lot since we opened our doors in 1964. Now media content is everywhere, on air, online, on the go. More than ever, companies are looking for people to help drive this new media.
At Connecticut School of Broadcasting, you'll get hands-on training on the latest software and equipment in a matter of months, not years. Connecticut School of Broadcasting has placed thousands of grads in broadcast media careers.
It's all about versatility. You see, at a radio station, if you also know how to shoot, edit, and post videos, you become a pretty hot commodity. That's the training you get at Connecticut School of Broadcasting.
Connecticut School of Broadcasting with locations up and down the East Coast from Massachusetts to Miami. Call 1-800-TV-RADIO or log on to GoCSB.com. Connecticut School of Broadcasting, the nation's oldest and largest group of broadcast media schools. Redefining training in radio, TV, and new media. Get trained. Get connected. 1-800-TV-RADIO.
I will fight till I take my last breath. I got the heart of a warrior, the heart of a warrior. I've been down, I've been out, and I've bled. Yeah. I got the heart of a warrior.
The Tom and Jerry Sports Show picks and predictions for Super Bowl 50. That's right. The whole season is over aside from one game. It's called the big game, and a lot of people have a lot of parties out there. It's a big day in sports. It's Sunday.
The 50th anniversary of it.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be an incredible game. These two teams are definitely going to be going at it. But first, you're speaking with Jerry and Kevin. We are taking calls at 605-562-7085. Press 5 to be heard live. And remember that the Tom and Jerry Sports Show now has its very own app. If you have an Android phone, be sure to download that through the Google Play Store. Super Bowl 50, Jerry, what are you thinking?
I'm just going to come right out with my pick.
Come out. I want to hear it.
Carolina.
I'm going Denver.
You going Denver?
I'm going. And honestly, this is a hard pick. Okay.
This is.
Do the Carolina Panthers have a great defense? Yes. Do the Denver Broncos have a great defense? Yes. Do the Broncos have a decent offense? That's the best way to put it. Yeah. But is Carolina's offense considered decent? I also agree with that. I think they're a great, decent offense at best too. You got to remember, the Arizona Cardinals did not have Tyrann Mateo. Do you think that big catch to Corey Brown happens if Tyrann Mateo's in that game? I don't. I personally don't think so. And Greg Olsen was able to get open in the middle of the field a lot. There wasn't a lot of pressure coming from Arizona, which they had a hard time doing. Yeah. Arizona had a hard time getting pressure.
They did. And I don't know. I don't know if Tyrann Mathieu would have made that big of a difference. I mean, he's a great player. Absolutely great player. Probably one of the best safeties in the league, if not the best safety in the league.
I just don't think Corey Brown catches that huge. But that's the only play I'm talking about. They made a lot of plays in that game, Carolina.
Yeah.
But,
But they got a very underrated offensive line. Their offensive line is very, very good, period. They're a very good team. And you know what? They're just Denver obviously is in this position because of defense. And everybody knows that. Everybody will say that. If you say differently, I don't know what you're watching.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's
Carolina.
It's not because of Peyton Manning. It's not because of Emmanuel Sanders. It's not because of Demaryius Thomas. It's because of that offensive line.
Well, yeah.
That offensive line is
Peyton
pretty
Manning
brutal, aside from
Evan.
And
some ducks.
Yeah, well, you know what? At the same time, he doesn't have a lot of time to throw the ball, and he's got no running game. Literally no running game. They have nothing.
No, I know.
And that's the reason why Cam Newton
But it's
has
also
the
because
edge
Peyton
here.
Manning's not that much of a threat. Last year, Peyton Manning was a threat.
Oh, they're trying to run the ball desperately in this game.
No, I know.
In every game in the playoffs so far. Are they going to ask Peyton Manning to do a lot in that game? I think so.
The way that Denver could make a game out of this is by passing the ball.
Mm-hmm.
The weakest part of the Carolina Panthers defense is their secondary.
Mm-hmm.
You know, more so their deep secondary. You know, you got to watch yourself in the middle of the field because of Luke Kuechly. But other than that, I think that, you know, you can make yourself a dangerous team by passing the ball on Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Do I think a run game will help immensely? Absolutely. Absolutely. But I don't know if Denver's offense is going to be enough to keep up with Cam Newton. And you know what? I would love to see how this Denver defense matches up with this Carolina offense, because you know what? They put on a show against New England. I mean, I've never seen New England's offense beat up the way that
But I've also
Denver
didn't
beat
see
up
anybody stopping Carson Palmer, and Carolina was able to do that as well. These two defenses are
Carson
gonna be,
Palmer kind of stopped himself.
Well, I'll be honest. Carson Palmer was not the same quarterback come playoff
Absolutely
time. He looked
not.
very nervous out there. It was clearly cut. But, you know, when it comes down to it, these are two defenses that are very, very superior. I think the only edge that Carolina has here is their running game. I think both teams pass the ball pretty much the same in this game. I think you don't see anybody overwhelming with the passing game. I think what comes down to is that Carolina is going to be able to run the football. That means they're going to be able to get more first downs. And I think that's what leads to easier third down completions for Cam Newton, or even third down options. You know, he can go out with an option run, throw it to a pass. You know, he could do a lot. Cam Newton is a unique player. We've talked about this in earlier segments. But for Peyton Manning, and with me, when I go out and pick Denver in this game, this is a pick where I want Peyton Manning to win another Super Bowl. I want him to go out on top. And John Elway wants to see this too.
Yeah,
it's clear cut is what John Elway wants. Exactly what happened with him. John Elway went out there, won Super Bowl, and was able to go off into the sunset. And he wants the same thing for Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning deserves it. Peyton Manning, you know, we've had this debate. We've talked about the debate between Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. I personally believe that Peyton Manning, and this is my own opinion, I'm not asking for anyone else, Peyton Manning is the best quarterback to ever live. All right, he was a coach on the field. You're never going to see anything like this again. You're never going to see anybody like this.
No.
You'll see a player like Cam Newton, but you're not going to see Cam Newton calling audibles left and right, trying to figure out a defense and what they're trying to do, like Peyton Manning was able to do for years.
Well, yeah.
And Peyton Manning had no defenses. He never had a defense like he has this year. In his entire career, this is the best defense he's ever had. We're talking the final year of his career right now.
This is
Cam Newton has an incredible defense on his side right now.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and Cam Newton's a great player, and we're not comparing the two. You know, but Peyton Manning is the best to ever live. And I want to continue to say it over and over because people need to understand this. You're never going to see something like that again. You're never going to see,
you're never going to see two quarterbacks the way that we seen this last, decade.
Not even just that.
Tom
You're never going to see a
Manning.
quarterback like Peyton Manning. You're never going to see a running back like Adrian Peterson, and you're never going to see a wide receiver like Calvin Johnson ever again.
No, and being that you just said that, Calvin Johnson retiring.
Yep.
30 years old. It's like Barry Sanders all over again for the Detroit Lions.
Or you might have read an article, too, about what's going on with half these NFL players.
Well, Antoine Randall, Tyler Sash also made headlines.
Antoine Randall's exact quote, "If I could go back, I wouldn't play football."
And you know what?
We don't want to get into this because Super Bowl 50 is coming. We want to watch football, and every fan loves football. But the point is that the NFL, when it comes down to this, they're going to have to do something when it comes to the idea of football and the safety and all this. But when it comes down to it, players, they're never going to run out of players. Yeah, you might lose some of these big names that are going to retire early, like Calvin Johnson and Patrick Willis on the 49ers. But when it comes down to it, there was
players that even went 1 year and then ended up retiring.
There are other players that are going to step right in. And that's the kind of NFL that they have. There's such a demand for players, and players will do anything to get out there and be a member of a team that are so desperate that, hey, you want to retire? I bet you these younger guys are no problem. Go. It leaves a spot open for me, and they know the risk, especially with these movies coming out and everything. But
you know what? And they just came out that concussions are at an all-time high for basically this season. And the way I look at it is because we're we know so much about it now. I think that's the reason why you have the reports up. I think people are getting their bell rung, and then, all right, well, I think I have a concussion. Boom, it gets reported. Mm-hmm. So I think that's the reason why the numbers have spiked. Antoine Randall, he was one of those guys that got drafted into the MLB as well. You made that choice. You made the choice to play football when you could have definitely made more money playing baseball. I mean, he made in his whole career playing football just as much as I think they said 14 players in baseball will make this year.
Yeah.
So, that's something to think about. And you know what? You have to make that. You have to make that decision. Mm-hmm. Which game are you better at?
Yep.
Which game do you think you're going to make more money at?
Yep.
Which game
Let
do
me
you
tell you
think
something,
you're
Antoine.
going to get less
there are
hurt?
not a lot of people with that kind of an option. So
exactly. So
I understand where he's coming
decision.
at. Yeah, I understand where he's coming at. He regrets playing football, but you know what? The time's passed already. But obviously,
but now we're celebrating.
We're talking
football.
about we're talking about the past. Now we're moving on to the future. Super Bowl 50 coming on.
Before we get past that, Tyler Sash, obviously the safety, 27 years old, played for the Giants, was found dead in his apartment, I think, or a hotel, something like that, and they found out that he overdosed on painkillers. They ended up finding out that it was CTE that was involved. He had CTE.
Well, there's a reason why he was in so much pain, taking so many painkillers.
So the thing is, obviously this is something that you cannot diagnose until, sadly they're passed. So, and also Amalu actually came out and said that he would put his doctor's, certificate and degree and everything like that on the line to basically say that O.J. Simpson is suffering from CTE. And he said he would put everything on the line to find out if he does, and he knows that he has it. But again, we're celebrating the game of football. 50 years, the Super Bowl this year. This is the first Super Bowl matchup between quarterbacks who were drafted number 1 overall, which is a nice stat. And also, Gary Kubiak is the first man in NFL history to appear in a Super Bowl for the same team as a player and a coach. This is Gary Kubiak's 7th Super Bowl, where he was in Super Bowls as, assistants, I think offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach, whatever it was. And then he was also the backup for John Elway through 3 Super Bowls. So,
and going on and favoring your pick, despite the fact quarterbacks making their Super Bowl debut have won 4 straight over quarterbacks with some Super Bowl experience. Peyton Manning's 2 Super Bowl losses came against quarterbacks making their debut.
Yeah.
And Manning also won his debut.
Absolutely.
John Fox, also the head coach of the Panthers before Ron Rivera took over in 2011. Fox was also the last head coach of the Broncos before Gary Kubiak took over in 2015. Fox was the head coach of each team's most recent Super Bowl appearance. So a lot of the reason why these 2 teams are in there could be John Fox, and he's not even going to be anywhere near the game. He should attend, though.
One side that the Carolina Panthers will want to block is the left side.
Yeah,
and you know why?
Von Miller.
Von Miller led all outside linebackers with 70 quarterback pressures from the left side of the defense. Out of his 82 overall for the season, he had 70 from one side. Mm-hmm. So you got to block that left side.
Absolutely.
That's the blind side. That's the blind side, and you know what? Michael Orr is the guy.
Absolutely.
Blind Side movie. That's
you
that's
got that right. You're gonna have to take care of business.
We do have one more story that we want to get into.
Oh yeah,
and it's the John Scott story.
Yes.
There's a great article. The Players Tribune, the website that Derek Jeter made when he retired. John Scott actually put in his own words everything that happened with this whole story. It was
they're already talking about a movie for it.
Yeah, it was messed up on the NHL's part, but in a way, the NHL made a lot of ratings through this, made a lot of money through this. John Scott ended up winning MVP for the All-Star game. If you don't know the story, go check it out and go read his article on the Players Tribune. It's a long article, but it's a good one.
It is. It just shows really these fans came together, got him into this All-Star game despite the clear indication that the NHL did not want him in there. And look at what you got. You got the MVP
Without a doubt.
And he deserved it. He got a couple of goals.
He got 2 goals in 2 games. And his team ended up winning the championship.
Even though John Tavares scored 4 goals last year in the game and didn't win it. So I don't understand how the MVP works. But guys, listen, enjoy your Super Bowl. Have a great time with your family and friends. Eat a lot of food. Enjoy the game.
The clock on the wall says that is all. You got the Super Bowl this week. Definitely check that out. Media Day is tonight. Check that out. And that will do it for the Tom and Jerry Sports Show. I am Jerry.
I'm Kevin.
Be breezy. Thanks for listening to another episode of The Tom and Jerry Show.